the exciting part about this episode is that we finally get to have someone who's at the forefront of research and pharmaceuticals, specifically peptides. Peptides are amazing. They're very sexy and popular right now, but there are a lot of warning signs and a lot of, dead ends that you can run into, specifically speaking. And one of the things that we're going to talk to Sam about today, which I think will finally put the nail in the coffin, is people who resort to online peptide websites.
You just don't know where they come from.
Right.
You can't go to China to see these facilities. Nobody can go and audit these places. Let's say you ask for a COA, certificate of analysis, from one of these websites. They'll send you one sheet.
Yeah,
one sheet of paper.
I've seen
the COA should contain.
Do you mind showing that on the camera for a second?
Should be a book.
I understand that if the purity is not, the quality and purity is not 99.9, I thought it was 99.6,
Yeah.
They can fragmentalize in your body and cause liver toxicity,
Yeah,
DNA damage, and even cancer, guys. Hi guys, welcome back to another edition of Beyond Biohacking Brothers, where we explore everything about longevity, optimization, biohacking, and beyond. And today, I'm joined as usual by my brother Carlos and Sam Miron, who's the co-founder and CEO of Genogenics Labs. Genogenics specializes in peptides, vitamins, and NAD products, revolutionizing healthcare with personalized DNA-driven solutions. Under Sam's leadership, the lab combines cutting-edge peptide stacks, genomics, and AI technology to empower actionable insights that optimize health and performance. And he's also possibly in better shape than me and Carlos, but I think the only reason is because he's cheating the code by making his Superman peptide stacks.
Oh my God.
Well, pleasure to be here, guys.
Yeah, Sam, I'm so excited for you being here, man, because, I know that you are a master formulator, and, you have an amazing background in pharmacy. And for us, the exciting part about this episode is that we finally get to have someone who's at the forefront of research and pharmaceuticals, specifically peptides.
Yes.
And, for all of you listeners, peptides are amazing. They're very sexy and popular right now, but there are a lot of warning signs and a lot of, dead ends that you can run into, specifically speaking. And one of the things that we're going to talk to Sam about today, which I think will finally put the nail in the coffin, is people who resort to online peptide websites, who have some very scary disclaimers, and who, if you have access to compound medication, you should never go to these sources because it's just outright dangerous. Right?
Oh, yeah.
And so that's one of the subjects that we'll talk about today. And I think that will put a nail in the coffin, like I said, to, not doing this via the supervision of a physician and doing it with a compounder that specifically engineers peptides for human consumption,
Yes.
which has a completely different threshold of quality control.
Pharmaceutical-grade, human consumption, and something that, it's held to the highest standards, by FDA and
Absolutely.
the regulatory,
No,
committee.
and not only that, Sam, I've met a lot of formulators, but you're the only one that I know is in phenomenal shape.
Yeah,
thank
which
you.
says
You
a lot.
drink the Kool-Aid. And that's important in a formulator, that
Yes.
he believes behind the product. And to
Yes.
be honest, it reflects on the presentation of your product.
exactly.
I've never seen packaging like it. The product, everything about it has been incredible, man.
Yeah,
I got to really give you props for that.
Yeah.
You gotta, live what you preach, right?
Absolutely.
You preach it now.
I preach it out.
So, Sam, without further ado, how did Genogenics come about, and how did you start the company? What inspired it?
Well, 20 years in, biotech industry, working with Amgen, Genentech, Bayer, designing processes, equipment, and designing process systems for big pharma companies. Then I had everybody has a life scare. I was a little overweight, maybe a little too much overweight, and pretty much changed my life. It was either I had to do something, and this turned into this.
But wait, you were like fat?
Fat, 300 pounds overweight.
Wow,
Yes.
300
Yeah.
pounds.
Yeah. Went from 300 pounds overweight, losing the weight, getting myself in really good shape. Started competing at the national level, took second place at the national level. Almost took my pro card.
That's incredible.
I've coached 2 times Mr. Olympia. So it was a life journey.
Wow, man, that's
And so, quick
incredible.
question. Obviously, that came with lifestyle changes
exactly.
because no transformation comes without
exactly,
lifestyle changes and
exactly,
doing the work.
exactly.
But how much of that was you researching certain compounds that were tools for you to propel you forward and give you momentum and sustain the
Exactly.
results?
I wanted to compete, and I wanted to compete as natural as possible. And I think peptides were the number one thing that I can compete and actually be at the competitive level with these bodybuilders that were enhancing themselves.
Yeah.
Right.
With all different types of steroids. So I focused on peptides and developing, different stacks and different, different protocols with peptides. So that's how the whole thing started.
Wow.
Incredible.
That's
That's awesome, man. Congratulations.
Thank you
man.
for being a mad scientist.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Well, educating yourself and be persistent and disciplined. It's very important.
So, thank you for that. That's inspiring, man. I didn't know that about you.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. It makes me want to be even more loyal because it's hard to find. And people, there's a lot of money-driven players in this industry that are
Exactly.
just doing it for money. And it seems
Exactly.
like you're doing it for the right
Exactly.
purposes, and it shows in everything that I've received from your lab.
Yeah, and Miguel and I are, we're sensitive to, looks are not everything, right? But there's something to say when you are a medical provider or, in the longevity space and you just don't look the part at all.
Exactly.
Right? Like
The worst thing is
that just gives me reservations when I work with somebody. It's like, hey, at some point your lifestyle or what you're preaching should reflect
exactly.
somehow, some way.
Exactly. The worst thing is we go to see a doctor and doctor walks in he's 300 pounds.
Yeah.
Right.
We always say if you hire a personal trainer, he's fat, fire him right away. You're fired
Exactly.
immediately.
That's a concept. There's a great book, Dead Doctors Don't Lie.
Yeah. Exactly.
Or what does your doctor look like naked?
I don't want to see that.
That's funny.
So without further ado, let's talk about research-based peptides, guys. Why are they risky, like low quality sterility issues, these fake certificates that you've shown me that they have out there, and what is the dangerous parts that patients need to be aware of before they decide to take peptides from research?
Yeah, you have peptides made in these facilities, and specifically China, where they don't follow any procedures, any regulations, any sterile or any standard operating procedures that to meet this criteria to have a product that is for human grade. So you just don't know where they come from.
Right.
You can't go to China to see these facilities. Nobody can go and audit these places. So anybody that says like, oh yeah, I know the supplier, I know the source. By the time the peptide comes to the United States, it must have been changing 15 hands.
Wow.
Oh,
so there's money being made along those 15 hands.
So
Exactly.
so let me get this straight. So because most even compound pharmacists here in the United States, I know they get materials from China, right?
Well,
So-
well, China, India, they get them from all
correct.
over
But
the
what you're
world.
saying is that once the raw materials are purchased, it exchanges hands 15 times.
No, finished product.
Oh, finished product.
Finished product, yeah. Finished product. Finished product is made directly in China, and it's just the way it changes hands from broker to broker to broker, and how you guys have to understand that they smuggle these peptides into the United States.
Wow.
Yeah, because it's
The raw
it's-
products.
No,
Or
the finished products.
Oh, the finished product.
Yeah,
You mean
so,
the ones that
the
are-
ones
the-
on the websites.
Yeah, the ones on the website. Why? Because the FDA is not approving them.
Exactly, because the FDA they're not authorized to be sold in the United States.
So this is what's funny to me that you just said that, because I often tell people, I'm like, look, when you, and we did the research on this, especially, specifically speaking, when we started working with you, our lawyers
Yeah.
looked at the indemnification disclaimer on 15 of the top peptide websites. And every single one on multiple pages of their disclaimer, and we've covered this on our peptide issue before, it specifically says that at no point in time should this. Hi. At MHI, we recognize the transformative benefits of red light therapy for detoxification, circulation, and overall wellness.
So after extensive research and testing, we're thrilled to present our top red light therapy recommendations, Sauna Space and BioLight. These two companies offer state-of-the-art red light, infrared saunas, and desk lamps that provide deep relaxation, promote recovery, and rejuvenate your body by keeping healthy circadian rhythms.
Go to the MHI Recommend section on our website to learn more about red light and near infrared. Don't forget to use our exclusive discount code to save on your purchase and enhance your wellness journey with the leading providers in red light therapy. So for now, stay healthy
And God bless.
peptide be injected, consumed by either human or,
Or
animal
exactly.
for any reason
Exactly.
whatsoever.
Exactly.
Furthermore, there are also multiple pages where the disclaimer says that they cannot guarantee that what's on the label is what's actually in the
Exactly.
bottle,
So
and
indemnified.
specifically to the right quantity. So it's funny what you just said, because I often ask people, say, like, why do you think they would have to say that? And people are like, oh, well, they have to say that because, and then there's a blanks there. But it's kind of like doing business with a drug dealer.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, they have to
100%.
claim this because I'm buying something that's illegal because they're going underneath the
100%.
FDA's eyes,
Yeah,
right? So that
100%,
makes
yep.
total sense now.
Yes. Yes, and we did for one of our customers. I reached out to one of these brokers, and I ordered a box of 10 vials, and the way it came in is just a code on it, no label, no nothing. You don't even know what the product is.
Right.
How do I know that this code links to the final manufacturing facility, that it's actually the exact product that it's in the vials?
So talk to me about what machinery or technology is being used to filter and check for the quality of these products, right? Like the
so-
certificate of analysis that can
So-
actually prove the quality of that
so-
product.
Actually, that's a good point, Sam. And if you can, I don't mind.
The
I don't,
sequencing.
Yeah, I don't mind throwing you off.
Before
but
you show the sequencing, that I've never understood that, like, there's ways to sequence peptides or the machinery, and there's some that are cheap,
Yeah.
you know, that you can buy on Amazon.
No, and I have look. Let's do this for the viewers. I'm gonna play sort of devil's advocate, right? I'm gonna play the argument that I often get from patients who go to these peptide websites, and the argument. So the first is, well, they need to say that. The question is, why would they need to say that? Why would they need to tell you not to inject it? And why would you do that? I mean, I think that's one of the things that the FDA got right, which is to protect you as a consumer, right?
Of course.
The other argument is, well, I have a certificate of analysis that says that this is 99.9% pure.
So basically,
Before you say that though, what's the purity level for human grade? I understand it's like 99.6.
99.9. So
99.9, not even 99.6.
as you can see here, 99.9. If it doesn't say. So when you, let's say you ask for a COA, certificate of analysis, from one of these websites, they'll send you one sheet,
Yeah,
one
I've
sheet
seen
of
it.
paper.
I've seen
The COA should contain.
Do you mind
should
showing that on
be
the camera for a second?
should
like pointing it?
be a book. Should be a book, and it should have product stability investigation test report. It should have all the testing before a product is released, showing the purity, the endotoxins, everything that is supposed to be for human grade at the pharmaceutical level should be in your COA and in your full report.
And you're looking for endotoxicity. The real endotoxicity is the bacteria.
yeah.
Or
Endotoxins are just toxins that are usually left behind from manufacturing process.
right, and then the sterility to make
Sterility,
sure it's
the
sterile,
sterile,
and any other compounds that may harm the individual.
Exactly.
Right.
And now-
one more thing, because I understand that if the purity is not, the quality and purity is not 99.9, I thought it was 99.6.
Yeah.
They can fragmentalize in your body and cause liver toxicity, DNA damage, and even cancer, guys.
Yeah.
Or
exactly.
communicate, because peptides
Communicate
are
the
communicating
wrong, right.
communicating molecules.
What I like to call peptides are like keys, right? They usually open different portals and different different receptors and regulate different genes in your body. So if you have a key that is cut wrong, it even if it binds and it's not over time, it's just going to create more damage.
Right, or it could communicate to the cell to do the wrong job that you don't want it to make. So if I understand it correctly, just to make it simple, because I know this is very complicated. I mean, the certificate analysis is supposed to be a book. Peptide websites just give you one page saying, 99% pure.
Exactly.
But what people need to understand is that the threshold for quality control for a non-human based peptide is completely different than for something that is engineered to be the end user a human being. Correct? There's a lot more stringency on the testing and what you need to report.
Exactly. And the relationship with the manufacturer. So the manufacturer that we have, it's here that we work with. They are an FDA approved API manufacturer, meaning that they make products for pharmaceutical companies.
Okay.
So we audit them. We have a very rigorous QA team that's all they do to make sure that suppliers are held to the highest standards.
Okay.
Yeah.
But just so I understand, because I'm still a little confused, whenever they send us the certificate of analysis, doesn't lead to anybody. Like, what could we tell the patient so they can?
Well, not only do they not
usually
what are the top three things
there's no company name.
Okay, no company name.
No company name, no address, no communication, no
to trace it back. You mean to trace it back to where the manufacturer really came from? Because as you said, in China, they're almost ghost production companies.
100%.
Well, also, I think it's important to understand that when you are a manufacturer that's telling whatever regulatory agent that you need to report to in order to transport this, that this is not for human use, it is not for animal use, this is for research purposes to put in like culture dishes, basically to see how molecules react.
Pretty much in vitro testing. So
in vitro testing.
Wow,
So the threshold for purity, the threshold for quality of control, the threshold for authenticity to, hey, I need to know exactly if this is going to cause harm to a human being. You remove all of that because I'm saying I'm not the end user is not going to be a human being. The end user is going to be a microscope.
Exactly.
A petri dish.
Yep.
A petri dish, right.
That's how you get away with it.
Exactly.
And then the person who says, well, they need to say that in order to get it through, that's a big mistake.
Big
because
mistake.
Now you're putting something in your body that you have absolutely no I mean, you wouldn't do that in any format. Like, you wouldn't go to a doctor and be like, hey, I'm going to give you a medication. I'm not going to tell you what it is. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you just wouldn't do that. So,
and especially if you're injecting it into your body. You're
No,
injecting solutions into your body.
Of course. I mean, and you're injecting these things and people get side reactions. And listen, I mean, if you have a good quality, human grade pharmaceutical peptide, you should not get like zero side reactions. No swelling, no redness.
Really,
none
even
of that.
the redness and swelling should not happen.
Should not happen.
Because the compounding pharmacies, that's another conversation. But they say you can get pruritus, which is the redness, or like itchiness at the injection site.
Exactly.
That should not be happening.
Should not be happening.
Wow.
So
that calls into question a lot of things. But the main thing for me is, okay, so I'm getting a peptide, right, that is for non-human consumption. I'm putting it into my body. And, I don't want to sound biased, but we get this all the time because what you just said is so true. We get people that come from these peptide websites and they're like, oh, I'm not getting results. Well, that's obvious. Or I'm getting some kind of weird symptom that is not even on the list of possible symptoms of these peptides. But what's more is when they actually switch, because we've been successful in, explaining this concept, they switch over to human grade compounded medication, and the result is wildly
specifically
different.
With like tirzepatide or something.
Wildly
they notice right
different.
away they're like on 15 milligrams and then they drop to like 5 and they get the same result.
Exactly.
And for the viewer, the last thing, and I think this will be the final nail in the coffin, this is exactly why peptide websites would go to prison if they gave you any advice on how to use it, why to use it,
Yeah, good point.
how much to inject, how much to mix with. They will not do that, because if they do, then that's implying that they manufacture this for the end user
human,
to be a human, which it
Exactly.
would be massively illegal.
Exactly.